Okay, good evening, everybody. Today is Monday, May 20th. It is 7:01. City Council is scheduled to conduct a hearings meeting. We're going to just gavel it in and ask some councilors to join us. Okay. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Counselor Walsh.
Present.
Present. Counselor Allen. Absent. Counselor Delgado.
Present.
Present. Counselor Click Bruce.
Present.
Present. Counselor Govan. Absent. Counselor Brown.
Present.
Present. Counselor Davila. Absent. Counselor Curran. Absent. Counselor Santinello.
Here.
Present. Counselor Edwards.
Present.
Present. Counselor Whitfield. Absent. Counselor Perez. Present. Present. Counselor Fenton.
Present. Will the council and our guests please rise for a moment of silence? Please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Madam Clerk, why don't we call our first item? Tonight is a hearings meeting. The first item is a petition for fuel storage. It is not a hearing that requires 9 votes, just 7. We have 8 councilors present, so we're going to take this one, and hopefully by the time we finish it, we will have enough councilors to do a special permit or zone change. Madam Clerk, item number 1.
The petition is for 1655 Boston Road fuel storage.
Good evening, Attorney Stratton.
Good evening, councilors. Attorney Seth Stratton with offices at 1 Monarch Place here in Springfield. I'm here on behalf of the petitioner, Onyx Limited, for a fuel storage petition. Public notice has been given, and Gladys, I have the I'll remind the council that approximately a year ago, we were here before this council with a special permit application for the redevelopment of the Eastfield Mall site or Springfield Crossing. This council approved that special permit. As part of that special permit and associated site plan, there are a number of uses. One of the uses is a gas station. And as you are all aware, in connection with the permitting of a gas station, one of the licensing prerequisites is to get a fuel storage permit. So we're moving forward with that licensing process. We submitted the proper application under Mass General Laws, Chapter 148, Section 13, to the city, to the fire commissioner who signed off on it. I believe in your packet, you'll see that it's been reviewed and signed off on by the fire commissioner, the building commissioner, planning department, and DPW. The application included lays out that there will be both underground and above ground, primarily underground, fuel storage, approximately 64,000 gallons, approximately 64 gallons underground and 14,000 above ground. And unless there are any questions about the use, we'd seek the council's approval, and thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Attorney Stratton. Is there anyone else wishing to speak on this petition? Madam Clerk, will you please recognize the councilors in seats number 5.
Counselor Govan.
Present.
Present.
And number 8.
Counselor Curran.
Present.
Present.
Okay, so we now have enough councilors for the special permit and zone change hearings. Any questions on this petition for a fuel storage permit? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
On approval of the petition, Counselor Walsh.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Allen. Absent, Counselor Delgado.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Click Bruce.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Govan.
yes,
Yes, Counselor Brown.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Davila. Absent, Counselor Curran.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Santinello.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Whitfield. Absent, Counselor Perez.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Fenton.
Yes, more than sufficient. Petition is approved. Item number 2, Madam Clerk.
Item number 2 is to amend an existing special permit, motor vehicle junkyard granted August 2006, amending or deleting conditions number 5 with installation of a work pad, number 9, outside storage of parts, and number 10, buying and selling of parts at the property known as 33 Oakdale Street.
To our friends in the media, would you mind taking your conversation outside, please, so that we can continue the business? Thank you. Okay. So this item is a petition, Madam Clerk, for 33 Oakdale Street.
Correct.
Is the petitioner here this evening? Mr. Levesque, are you here on behalf of 33 Oakdale? Okay. Seeing no petitioner, is there a motion to continue?
Motion to continue.
Is there a
Second.
second? Motion made by Counselor Edwards and seconded by Counselor Perez. Any discussion on the motion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll on the motion to continue.
On the motion to continue, Counselor Walsh.
yes,
Yes, Counselor Allen. Absent, Counselor Delgado.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Click Bruce.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Govan.
yes,
Yes, Counselor Brown.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Davila. Absent, Counselor Curran.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Santinello.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Whitfield. Absent, Counselor Perez.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Fenton.
Yes, more than sufficient. This item is continued. I want to just thank East Springfield Neighborhood Council President Kathy Brown for coming tonight and being prepared to speak on that item. Regret to waste your time, but hopefully the petitioner shows up to the next hearings meeting. Madam Clerk, item number 3, our last item.
The last item is a zoning change to change the zoning of a portion of the property known as 824 Berkshire Avenue from Industrial A to Business B.
Mr. Levesque. This is a hearings meeting, so you have 20 minutes to state your case. If there are any opponents, they'll be offered the same opportunity, and then there's a rebuttal period thereafter, consistent with the City Council rules and the Massachusetts Zoning Act.
Thank you, Mr. President and Councilors. Rob Levesque from our Levesque Associates here this evening representing Mike Cericchio. Hedgehog Industries is the name of the applicant. They own the subject property at the corner of Berkshire Avenue. The plan before you this evening shows the existing zoning and a proposed zone change. It's a little bit difficult to see the proposed, so I will highlight it. It is the hatched area right here. The red area that you see on your plan is zone Business B. Business B allows for residential properties to be developed. Industrial A does not. Based on the current housing crisis and the housing market, they felt that there was a logical change to request before your council. We have been to the Indian Orchard Citizens Council and received a positive recommendation. We also have a recommendation from the planning department, which I believe said they do not oppose the zone change. We are planning to do a 3-story multi-family building, and I have a rendering of that in general. We have not been obviously before the planning board, so it's just a concept, but we wanted to show that to you.
Thank you, Mr. Levesque. Madam Clerk, will you please recognize the counselor in seat number 7
Counselor Davila.
and the counselor in seat number 2?
Counselor Allen.
Hi, President.
Present.
Almost a full house now. Thank you, Mr. Levesque. Is there anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this zone change? Say again, anyone wishing to speak in favor? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Say again, anyone wishing to speak in opposition, online, at home, or in person? Seeing none, before we close the hearing, are there any questions for the petitioner from the council? Councilor Walsh.
Thank you, Mr. President. It looks like a great project. Are you going to be marketing to a particular group, or what is your hope for the project?
Market rate housing.
Pardon me?
I'm sorry, market rate housing.
And will be one family, two family? What is the makeup of it?
So the units will vary between 1 and 2 bedroom, maybe an occasional studio, and maybe 1 or 2, 3 bedrooms, but mostly 1 and 2s.
Is there some reason why you picked that area?
The petitioner owns the properties. They thought it was a logical location. They're involved in housing throughout Western Massachusetts, and it made a lot of sense to them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Counselor Govan.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Levesque did come to the Indian Orchard Citizens Council, and we also did a site visit at the site. And the Citizens Council Board thought it would be a great idea to have housing there. The only concerns they had was the traffic. And I know that the city does a really good job with doing traffic studies and figuring out ways to lessen the congestion if there's any. And I'm hoping that Mr. Levesque and his group will be able to come to a place in a way that we could have the least amount of friction regarding traffic. That was the only concern that came up at the Citizens Council. But otherwise, we thought it was a great idea to change the zone for this purpose because, as we know, there is a housing shortage. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Counselor Govan. Counselor Brown.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to thank Mr. Levesque. This is something definitely needed. I know in my area, we have a lot of projects when it comes to housing. And in that particular area, I do travel it. Do you have things set up for handicap in your design?
Yes, Counselor, through the President. Yes,
Yeah.
Counselor. We absolutely would be required to adhere to 521 CMR, which is the state regulation for accessibility. So absolutely, yes.
Because a lot of times where some of the Knox buildings are, it just seems like they have handicap spaces in the parking lot itself, but not right up near the doors. So, I would just, in your design, try to make the handicap parking kind of close to the doors because if you can, because a lot of times I think we kind of forget to kind of place them the right way. But I definitely commend you for you guys' work, and it definitely sounds like a great project. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Counselor Brown. Counselor Santinello.
Yeah, real quick, provided that the council passes this tonight, what's the projected start date and finish? When will these come online?
Most likely next season. By the time we get through the planning process, we don't want to be presumptuous. We would anticipate that would take some time, want to make sure everybody's comfortable with traffic, et cetera. Once they get through the entitlement process, they would typically work on the architectural plans, put that out to bid, and be in a position for likely a spring start.
Would you be using local contractors?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Counselor Perez.
How many units you said it's going to be having?
The unit count isn't finalized. There's a parking requirement for 1 bedrooms and 2 bedrooms, but in the neighborhood of about 40 units.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Any other counselors? Counselor Davila.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good afternoon. I think as the paperwork says, there is a small restaurant and a dealership there. I know the restaurant, I believe, is operating, correct? The small restaurant?
Can you ask that question again, Counselor?
I was asking the petitioner, the restaurant, is it operating? Is it functioning?
I believe it is.
Okay, and the dealership?
I don't know that. I know the restaurant is.
Okay, and have you established a conversation with the owners of the restaurant?
My understanding
About relocation and timelines for them to start looking somewhere else?
So, to the President, my understanding is that Mike Cericcio has had initial conversations with the tenants, and I believe that there would be, a timeline associated with, any sort of, process for finding them a new home. I don't know that he's had extensive conversations only because again, not to be presumptuous, obviously this is contingent upon a zoning map amendment. So we wanted to make sure we had that in place, and obviously would work through the planning department.
My apologies, I think didn't quite get to hear what you say. Could you repeat that again?
Yes, sir.
Has their conversation been established or no?
I'm sorry.
Has there been conversation established with the owner of the restaurant?
My audio is not, I don't know if I'm hearing it right.
Yeah, it's just a little hard with the audio. But the Councilor Davila is asking if the discussion has been started with the restaurant.
My understanding is Mr. Cerricio has initiated that discussion, at least on a preliminary level.
Okay, and I think you said to Councilor Santinello that something about October, the timeline to begin the building there?
Next season, so likely in the spring of 2025.
Okay.
At the earliest.
Okay. I think the units are absolutely needed. So we know we have a crisis here. We have an issue with housing, so I think this is quite appropriate. But I will encourage you to establish early conversations with the restaurant owner, because obviously he's going to be displaced and he's going to have to find a location. And I'm not a believer of improving one thing and breaking the other. We want to keep this young man operating here in the city and the business that he has there, which I do believe it's functioning, up and running. So thank you. Thank you for your help. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Davila. Councilor Delgado.
Thank you, Mr. President. I did have maybe it's not a question, but just wanted to highlight again what Councilor Govan made point from the neighborhood in terms of the traffic side of things. I think this is a great idea. We need more housing, but being somebody who's lived in Indian Orchard, and particularly that intersection, Cottage Street and Berkshire Avenue, historically has been a rough one, although that has improved with the additions of the traffic lights there. But just the fact that that parcel is like right there, right in the corner, kind of gives me a little pause of thinking about people going in and out, but I know that you're going to be doing a traffic study on that. So I just want to kind of highlight that piece again, because I think just given that corner, and you're also sandwiched in between other businesses, that was something that I kind of thought it was kind of odd, the spot, but if you guys think it's going to work, I mean, more power to you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Delgado. Councilor Brown, is your hand up again for a different question?
I just had a quick as far as now the actual contracting out. Is there contacts that are available if we have any minority contractors or anybody who might be interested in putting a bid in?
Yes, sir. I believe Mike Cerricio will be handling all that for the proponent. He is the proponent. They are the proponent. I can certainly make sure he provides the information, and absolutely, yes.
Okay. And they're doing all Springfield, all local people pretty much, or I mean, they're trying local first.
I would believe so. I believe his office is located right here in the Pioneer Valley, and yes, absolutely.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Brown. Any other councilors? Councilor
I just
Davila.
thank you, Mr. President. I just have a quick follow-up. With regards to the entryway to the location, that's going to be on Berkshire Avenue, correct?
That is correct. Yep, we were planning on shifting there was a request from the Indian Orchard Citizens Council to try to get away from the intersection that Councilor Delgado had mentioned. So we are certainly planning on one curb cut. Instead of having two, which we initially had proposed, we're planning on kind of circulating back through the site and then coming out in one clean curb cut a little bit farther away from the intersection. So that's the plan. Obviously,
Right.
we have to vet that through the planning department.
So how far would you say that is between the rendering that I have here and the actual corner of Cottage Street, Berkshire and Cottage? How much feet?
A few hundred. I don't have the specific in front of me. I apologize, but generally speaking, a few hundred feet.
Okay. And what's right next to it? Is that right the property line that I see here in the renderings? I don't know.
The property line, yes,
I don't
sir.
know if you can see it. Do you see Is that right at property line? What's this white stuff over here?
That is the adjacent parcel. So there, the area where you see the shrub row is a schematic of what we anticipate for the site layout, kind of how the building would be oriented, and that green hedgerow would be along pretty much the property line.
So is there any more room to possibly move it further back?
Yes, certainly through the site planning process, we anticipate that some of the business B requirements, for example, the landscape requirement of 10 feet, and some of the other, all of those details would certainly be worked through, and we try to do the best to buffer.
And I'm sorry, how many cars are we expecting to be housed there?
How many cars? Is that what it was?
Yeah.
So approximately 80, depending on the number of units. When we lay it all out, and I would say it's probably in the 80 range.
I guess a 38 unit apartment building, right?
Yes, sir.
38?
So there's, depending on the unit, whether it's a 1-bedroom or a 2-bedroom, has a different parking requirement. 1-bedrooms are one space. 2 bedrooms are 1.5, or 2 bedrooms and above are 1.5. So yeah, it'll land in that general vicinity though.
Got you. I also, again, I think it's quite appropriate. I will also encourage you, because we all know that corner there is extremely problematic, both in the morning, in the afternoon. You got the PVTA buses that come through that. You got everybody and their mother cutting through that. And I can tell you firsthand experience, that is a huge challenge in that area. So, I believe that you guys and Mr. Levesque will do its appropriate due diligence to ensure that the safety is paramount. I believe Mr. Levesque has had other projects here for his wise and humble body, so I am confident that that's going to happen. If Phil Dromey approved it, I think that's the right blessing. So, thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Davila. And I do just want to clarify for councilors that this is going to ultimately require a special permit too, that we'll have to deliberate on at a future date. Councilor Curran.
Thank you, President Fenton. Just to the petitioner, what is the square footage of these apartments? You say they have studios and 1-bedrooms. What's the approximate square footage of those units?
I believe they vary between 600 and 800 square feet. For the 1s and 2s. If they vary, they would probably get a little bit larger than that, if at all.
So 600 would be about the smallest unit?
I don't fill the architectural role, so I want to speak carefully. I believe it's going to be in that range, Councilor Curran. I don't know specifically if they would vary from that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Curran. Any other questions from the council on the zone change? Okay. Is there anyone in the public wishing to speak on this matter here tonight? Okay. Seeing none, that'll close the hearing. Madam Clerk, if you could please call the roll on approval of the zone change.
On approval of the zone change, Councilor Walsh.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Allen.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Delgado.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Click Bruce.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Govan.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Brown.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Davila.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Curran.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Santinello.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Whitfield. Absent, Councilor Perez.
Yes.
I'm here.
Will the clerk please recognize the councilor in seat number 11?
Councilor Whitfield.
Present, and I'm going to abstain. Thank you.
Present and abstain. Councilor Perez.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Fenton.
Yes. More than sufficient. Zone change is approved. Any more
Thank you.
business, Madam Clerk?
No, there's not.
Okay, so council will stand adjourned. I do want to remind councilors that we have our last budget hearing meeting tomorrow night at 5 o'clock. And we've scheduled the budget vote meeting for... When did I schedule the budget meeting vote for?
A week later.
The week of the 27th.
Tuesday the 28th. Tuesday the 28th, the day after Memorial Day. Okay, so hope to all see you all tomorrow night, and then on Tuesday, the 28th, for the budget vote. Thank you and good night.